You can use some place value to write some fractions as decimals. So for example 2 here, the directions are write each fraction as a decimal. Now yesterday we learned that you can divide the decimal to turn it into a fraction. And in this case, I'm going to show you that we can take 2 over 5, and because 5 will go into 10, I can set up what we call a proportion. And I can say that I know I can multiply 5 by 2 to get to 10. And if I do that, then I can also do 2 multiplied by 2, which is 4. Now, 4/10 would be written as a decimal as 0.4. And then for letter B, same thing, I have 7 over 25. And now this time 25 can't go into 10, but it can go into 100. So I know 25 multiplied by 4 is 100, and so I can multiply 7 by 4 to get me 28. So to write 28 hundredths, I would write 0.28. You can also use place value to write a terminating decimal as a fraction. So remember, a terminating decimal is a decimal that ends. Use the place value of the last digit to the right of the decimal point as the denominator of the fraction. So example 3, write each decimal as a fraction in simplest form. Now this is very, very important. We have to take our fraction we get and put it into simplest form. So right here it says reading and math, you read the decimal 0.036 as 36 thousandths. Now that's going to be important because we have to look at what place that 6 is in, and because it's in the thousandths place, then I can set up a fraction over 1,000. And in this case, it would be 36. So 36 over 1,000. Now, I have to find a number that can go into both 36 and 1,000 to put it into simplest form. I could start with 2 because they're both even and keep going that way, but I also know that 4 will go into both of these. 4 will go into 36 9 times, and it will go into 1,250 times. Now to get that, I took 36 divided by 4 to get 9, 1,000 divided by 4 to get to 250. Now I'm going to look at 9 and 250 to make sure that nothing else will go into them, and they won't. So my answer is 9 over 250. Example B, I have 1.28. I'm going to look at that 8, and I'm going to determine what place value it is in. It's in the hundredths place. So I'm going to put it over 100. So I would write this as 128 over 100. Now, realize that this is going to be bigger than 1. So it makes sense that I have a number bigger than 100. I'm going to do the same thing to get it into simplest form by figuring out what factors will go into both 128 and 100. Again, I could start with 2, but 4 will also go into them. So 4 will go into 128 32 times. 4 will go into 100 25 times. So my answer is 32 over 25. Example 4. You do not need to write anything for this, just watch. During a football game, Albert completed 23 of the 27 passes he attempted. Find his completion rate to the nearest thousandth. So this is kind of like the baseball problem, where if we just look at the 23 alone, that wouldn't make sense. So we have to figure out how many passes he completed out of how many total passes. So our fraction is 23 out of 27. We divide 23 by 7 to get the answer. Now, you can see that we have a pretty long decimal here. It goes a lot of places out. We round to the nearest thousands. So if I look here, there's the tenths right here with the 8, the hundredths with the 5, the 1 is in the thousands place, And then I have to look to the 8. Will the 8 make the 1 stay the same or go up? And it will in fact make the 1 go up to a 2, so that is the rounded answer from the calculator. To answer our essential question, how do you convert between fractions and decimals? So to convert a fraction to a decimal, you divide the numerator by the denominator. To convert a decimal to a fraction, you determine what place value the decimal is in. You see the number in the decimal as the numerator or top number and the place value as the denominator or bottom number. You need to write the fraction in simplest form.